The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Dayton, bro. Boy, I from Dayton, bro. Right between West and Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign blank check. It seems the ones that come in after quick to disrespect. You see, this life in the ghetto never easy. So many hungry days break till it breathe me. Way I doing the best I can, trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand. I represent the ghetto people.
Good night, Bahamas, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Inner City that premieres every Friday at 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Telephone numbers tonight are 323-6232, 325-4316, and 325-4259. I am your host, Valentino. I have a lot of alias. Most people know me as Scrooge. Some call me Governor and MP. But it's just a pleasure to be here to be able to talk about the invisible stuff and solutions for this country's problem. And we talk about things that are happening in the country that affect us and been affecting us a very long time. So I'm glad to have this platform on Guardian Radio to really express myself and get some education. And then a lot of the times, the general public knows exactly what's going on in the country. So when we have these topics, they're able to come together and have a wonderful conversation on a lot of solutions in the country's problem. So it's just always be a pleasure to all those who call in, all those who are listening. It's just a pleasure, and thank you for each and every one. As I make my journey through Nassau, Bahamas, many of you always show me the utmost respect, and I want to say, in return, I'm doing it to you. I'm very grateful to each and every one of you that I've met over the course of my journey, especially being on Guardian Radio, and all the compliments. I'm very grateful. Tonight's show, we're going to talk about a recent escaped prisoner that escaped from the Princess Margaret Hospital, who was just recently sentenced last week Friday, and then was caught in the area of Hay Street, which is in the community that I reside in, Grunstown. I want to talk a little bit about that. But in the second half, I want to talk about why I don't answer on Awario Major's death. And we had a response from the Minister of National Security in response to that. And we want to discuss that. And we just want to show you how the system is protect the system. And I just want to say this to each and every one of us. We are not equal in the country, and if we're looking to be equal, we have a long, long way to go because we're separated by politics, we're separated by the church. And then, it's just that, we, as a country, when we were controlled by the British, we said that, we need to get rid of that system. We didn't want it to be controlled by the white man. They had all the top positions in the country. They had all the businesses in the country. They were controlling the ports. They were lawyers, doctors, etc. And we as Bahamians, we had enough. So we decided to get together as a nation of black people and white people who were here. But at that particular time, we felt that there was discrimination. And we get together, we form a party, started by 4 or 5 leaders who got elected. After that, we got majority rule. Now we removed the British. We started to take the top positions, Commissioner of Police, Minister of National Security, Prime Minister, Governor General, Prison Superintendent, Director of this, Director of that, Director of National Insurance, Director of this, that. So we claim these spots. But look at us now. Now, The British is gone. The whites have left. They're still here doing business in the country. But now we control these positions that we're in. And then we were supposed to hold this position and use this position now, because now it's not a white administration no more. Not that I'm discriminating. It's just part of history. Okay? Now we have a black administration. And now look what happened in our country. Everything is failing in our country because we believe we are better than one another in this country. And then sometimes in the political parties, we tend to use this position of power, to oppress other people in the country. So we're going to talk about that in the second half, how the system protects the system, even though sometimes the system is guilty. They will never admit it. They'd always defend it. And I'm referring to the fact that while in opposition, the Minister of National Security, the Honorable Vane Monroe, when he was in opposition, he made a remark stating when he was in opposition that, he feared police could investigate police. Now that he's the Minister of National Security, he said in his own particular way that he feels the police can investigate themselves. It's because now that he has a position of power, his job now is to protect the Royal Bahamas Police Force because he's the Minister of National Security, when it ain't supposed to be that way, when we're supposed to be able to protect the whole citizenry of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, it's not his fault. He just inherited. He just invented in a system that he'd inherit. And what I mean is this. When you go in government, when you're in opposition, you can say many things that you want to do. But when you get in government and sign contracts, government and sign agreements, and when you become the minister, these agreements are very signed. There's some things you can't go against. There's some things you can learn why you were not in opposition. You will learn why you're in government. And there's certain things you cannot do what you spoke on as opposition. You understand? That's why the Minister of National Security, even though he's double talking, you understand? Like I say, I don't blame him. But if a man has integrity, he should stick to his word, regardless political party. But he knows very well this could cost him the general election if he ever speak out against the Royal Bahamas Police Force. You understand? First of all, I'm saying I'm not talking. I'm just talking about some things happen where you could see that they're not being held accountable for their actions. And we need to see justice in the country. But we're not seeing that. So we're going to talk about that in the second half of the show. But I want to start the show off and talk about the incident that happened in the Grandstand with a young man who now just got brought guilty. He will return to court sometime, I think, next year to get his sentence. But I want to start the clip. Can I play it? Okay. And we'd start the show from here.
I've been praying and asking God to have mercy on him, that he could use this as a testimony and ask Jesus to come into his life, come into his heart.
That's 52-year-old Levita Thurston reacting to her daughter's killer being convicted of murder 9 years after the offense took place. But little did we know as we sat speaking about her daughter's killer on Monday afternoon that he would be escaping custody from Princess Margaret Hospital. According to police, 31-year-old Anthony Bethel escaped from Princess Margaret Hospital at around 3:30 Monday afternoon as he was waiting for medical attention. On Friday, Bethel was convicted of the 2015 murder of Georgette Ramming.
I look at him and I really feel sorry. My daughter is gone. Nothing could be done for her. But he is still redeemable. He can be delivered. It is not too late for him. So that's what I'm dealing with.
Early Tuesday morning, police announced that Bethel was back in custody. During his murder trial that concluded last week, the court heard that he confessed to Thurston before his murder arraignment in 2015. Yesterday, Thurston recalled that conversation for us.
When he went into court to be arraigned, and the magistrate wasn't in there as yet, and I walked in, and I asked him, "Did you kill Georgette?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Why?" And he hung his head down. And he said if he didn't kill her, so-and-so was going to kill him. He called her name. And the name he called was one of our family members on Dad's side. And I said to him, you couldn't just go to the police? You was that afraid that you did what he told you to do? He said, yeah, I'm sorry.
While Thurston was terrified when Bethel escaped, yesterday she spoke of how she felt sorry for him and how she believed he is redeemable and should not receive the death penalty. She believes a custodial sentence is warranted, and before his brief escape, she said she would be content with him being able to rejoin the outside world after he completes his sentence.
I still do believe that he deserves a second chance. You know, I also want to sit down with him and talk. Find out, like, you couldn't, like, change your mind. You couldn't warn her. You couldn't go to the police. You know, I still would like to talk to him. I still would like to talk with him, have sit-downs.
Thurston said her daughter suffered for many years while she was alive. A victim of sexual assault, she said her daughter had behavioral issues in school and turned to alcohol and drugs.
She was molested as a child, but unknowing to us, she always was getting problems in school and always crying, depressed, but we knew not why. All the efforts, take her to doctor, take her to psychiatrist, she never spoke about it till it was almost the end. Then we found out, you know, that very cousin used to molest her. Then we understood. But she always was a bubbly person. That's why we nicknamed her Gigi. She used to like to giggle a lot. And she had her happy moments. You know, she had her downtime. But I got my daughter back as a child that day she was going to be killed. She was like a baby in a candy land, just happy. And our family was happy that day.
That cousin was himself murdered just months after ramming. While grieving her daughter, Thurston turned to education and spirituality. She received degrees in theology and counseling and is currently enrolled in a Bachelor's of Social Work program at the University of the Bahamas.
I want to help people like Mr. Bethel. I want to help young girls and young men who have been molested or going through a hard time. That's why I am studying the area of theology, social work, and law, because all connect with each other. And so the more knowledge I have, the more power I have to help others. I want to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem.
Bethel is scheduled to begin the penalty phase of his trial in October. Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Jared Higg.
Yeah, each and everyone who was spoke about in that particular interview, I know personally. I know Mr. Anthony Battle, who's 31, who escaped from police custody from the Princess Margaret Hospital. I know Miss Thurston. I know her daughter who was killed. Before her daughter get killed, her daughter spent a few nights by me because she was telling me, you know, her life was in danger. I could always remember this. The person she spoke about concerning to be a family member. He comes from a great family, you know. I know his mom, his father passed away, but his mom is one of the best. She does community work. She has been doing community work for many, many years. And all this in one yard, and one street separates both victim, both escapee, both mother, and both mothers on both sides, who, especially Ms. Thurston, are talking. Ms. Thurston lived in the community of Cranston, Old Bodali. She was involved in a relationship with a gentleman named Georgie. He also is one of the senior men in the community. I know him from I was a little boy, and they had a few children, and one of those children was Georgette. And that was a family yard. And, they're saying family member who got killed right after Ms. Raming. He himself got killed right after that. And, the strange thing about it is, okay, let me explain it. Ms. Tyson herself, she grew up tough in the community. She had ups and downs in the community, just like myself. It was a rough time in the community. She, like I said, had a tough past. She started to understand the mistakes she made. And she corrected those mistakes. And she did her best to better herself by being involved in national issues in the country. She used her past experience as a person who have had trauma, had a hard life, and she used it to express herself on the platform. She normally works with Dr. David Allen. She makes a lot of presentation, government meetings. I've met her a few times. I've known her personally, but I'm being engaged in these type of conversation. And she has been invited to express herself. She talked about her daughter, and she talked about how she loves her. She wants to help. You know what I'm getting to find out? Mo, it seems to me people who have had a hard time in life, and they see the mistakes they have made, they are more compassionate, and they want to help this country. If you listen to her voice, she is talking to a young guy who lives in the community that is responsible for killing her daughter. She is not asking for the death penalty. She asked him before he got sentenced and before he got convicted, if he, why not come to her and at least warn her and etc. But he couldn't, because if he did, he also would have got killed. Boy, it's crazy. All this in one corner, one community, people. So let me talk about Anthony Road. Anthony Road, I know him from born. His grandmother lives on East Street, across from East Street Gospel Chapel Church. Her name is Sandra. She has her leg amputated. She's struggling, and she have taken care of her grandson from the day he is born. That same Anthony Road, Anthony Battle, from a baby. She would do everything she can to assist the young guy. Listen, people, this young guy wasn't really no problematic young guy. You understand? He lived in the community. The community was gang infested. He decided to pick a side, started to hang with certain guys. And, they influenced him. He got caught up, right? He's 31, and he's finished, okay? And he hasn't been in that much problem. I know painted from he was a little boy. Started getting problem when he reached the age of 22, 23, little sayings where guys go, little fighting, and then start total guns. So it started to get a little serious from there. Now look, one crucial mistake. He has not been in police custody that much. That was probably his first or second time in police custody. Now look what he is. Now he's got to go back to court to probably get dinosaur time. That could be anywhere from 50 to 45 years. You could tie sissy in jail. He has about 2 children on the road. Okay, who's going to take care of them? So you could forget about that. His grandmother, Sandra, she can't because she's struggling. And 2 to 1, she still would try to help as long as she has health and strength. She sells fruits and vegetables in the front of East Street Gospel Chapel Church. You understand? That's how serious this is. Excuse me. Man to God. No, Georgie only lives about 2 corners away from Painted, Anthony Road, who is now in police custody. No, only 2 corners away. Everyone knows everyone. That's why community development is so important. Become desensitized. Become desensitized. And we sometimes could deal with situations if we have the right tools and the right environment. You heard Ms. Thurston, she was crying and she wants to sit down and talk with Mr. Raming, excuse me, Mr. Battle, you know, she don't want the death penalty for him. She's still showing mercy and she's compassionate. You know, she is starting her own program now to help at-risk youths who have been sexually molested and stuff like that. And this is the good stuff. But I want to say this to the young guys out there. Many people were on social media and said that, you know, he escaped. Why would he go back in the grandstand community? Because, listen, he has nothing. He has no future. He had no future. Okay? There's no place he could have run. He didn't have no gun. Okay? For us concerned, when he got convicted Friday of last week, that was the end of his world. 2-1. He didn't even realize the seriousness of that conviction. And when he got that, he kind of spaced out. They say he was in the cafeteria walking around the hospital, lost. He was walking around in Grandstand, Lewis Street, Hay Street, the place where he know the police would be looking for him. That's because he completely lost his mind. Now his life is finished. So you young guys out there, listen to me and listen good. He got a bill of voluntary indictment. Okay? That means you're finished. That means the public prosecution or the Attorney General office has enough evidence to present to the court for a conviction. Okay? And he was walking around the streets. And listen to people, he had no gun. And he couldn't go nowhere. People say, why he in there? But because he couldn't go no place else, people. He's finished. So for many young guys out there, you want to go pick up a gun, you want to go hurt people and don't have a plan. You understand? Peanut ain't had no plan. He ain't had nowhere to run. He had no money. He didn't have $1 in his pocket. Okay? Not $1. He was sleeping in the old All Camp building on East Street across from Mission Baptist Church, where he was apprehended. I mean, where he was running from, but that's where he was sleeping. He was going to people who he know, and they was running him. You know? He couldn't last a minute on the streets because he had no place to go. For you young guys out there, that's how you want to end up. You go, you pull the trigger, you kill somebody today. Next 2 days, everyone know your business, you're charged before the court, you get a bill of voluntary indictment. Now look what happened to you. It belongs to the government. You know, that's how serious it is out there. So I want a lot of you to think 10 times before you go out there and want to go harm somebody or want to take somebody's life. Because if you make a crucial mistake, like Mr. Anthony Roll, whose life is finished at the age of 31. I see a call on the line. I hope this... Go ahead, caller. You're on inside in the city.
Yeah, my brother, all is well.
Everything all right, my brother. Good night.
All right, man. It's an interesting story and situation. Yes, was explaining just now, man.
Yes, sir.
And like you say, I really feel bad for the young man. Obviously, the mother, the lady, we said to her, you know.
Yes, Mr.
She feels sorry for him too, and she forgive him, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's a good woman, but
yeah, she good.
I say.
And you had no voice, eh?
So I could hear no voice.
Yes.
You mean that? Yeah, I said
yes.
I don't front no nothing.
No.
That's I said. But brother, listen to me, man. You off the road. See what I said?
Yes, sir.
I off the road. I got my business, but I off the road. Do that legitimate thing and all that. Understand? This police force corrupt, brother.
Yes.
I show you there was what I tried to blood.
Yes, I'm gonna.
Yeah, you would have ever gone down.
I'm gonna give some. Yeah, I'm gonna later as the show go on. I'm gonna knock on it. Go ahead though. You're speaking now.
Allegedly. You
yes.
understand? I said that's the 15 shot. Now why the free fall all are connected. Understand? I said. Right. The police corrupt. You understand? Something need to happen, brother.
Yes, sir.
This country going to hell in a handbasket, but it's the top. But you know, certain people at the top affiliated with certain man number. You see what I said? Everybody knows what's going on, but ain't nowhere, nothing in this country to change. They keep allowing these type of things to happen, but
yes, sir.
Everyone is bad man. You understand what I said? You was real bad man when you take care of your family and
that's right.
And protect your family.
And the community.
You understand what I say? You don't know bad man, you going out there causing problem. This is the only country we got. Where we going?
I will know where we going.
Where we going?
You want to go to America?
They all destroy this country where we going, but
yes, sir.
Everyone is grow up and become a man.
Yes.
Put man head on your shoulders, man. And if these senior man, them who's supposed to be protecting us, man, listen, man. You understand, brother?
Mm-hmm.
It's serious, boy.
Yes, sir. Serious.
It's serious.
Serious to the core.
And I know these things true because I didn't know certain man them who I deal with before, man. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You speaking from
Everything
experience.
cool, brother.
You speaking from experience. We all have been in that atmosphere. We know that's why we're expressing
Yes.
ourselves. We only wanted to get better, you know. We wanted to get better
That's
because
all we want, man.
we wanted to
done
get
been going
better.
through that, man. We done terrorize and take a long time, man.
Yes,
you
sir.
get older, you get wise. So that's young people stuff.
Yes, sir.
You
You're
understand?
correct.
You get older, you get wiser.
That's exactly
And
what
you
happened.
start caring about things, man.
Yes.
You got children and things to care about family members and things, man.
Yes, sir.
Life.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, brother.
These guys ain't caring about nothing. And if those man, this thing go way to the top, even in the government, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they ain't want to change nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They affiliated with these people, them who doing all type foolishness, man.
And the back of what
So
you
they can
said,
get off anyway.
the back of what you said, we just had someone who was employed by government who led on this government licensed government car, and the guys did a heinous crime in the government red license plate, and yet still we're not here. So that means government was a part of it.
Exactly.
If the red license plate,
the first time he try and he foolishness like that.
that's true.
Huh?
What you're saying is correct. The red light represents the government, and if the employee is using a government vehicle to do illegal activity, then the government is a part of it, sir.
Exactly.
And it seems that even the guys who alleged made the comment regarding that we need one of these when we want to do something else, it seems that they've been going on a long time. But yet still we're hearing nothing from the Minister of National Security. We're not hearing nothing from the opposition. And we're not hearing nothing from the Commissioner of Police.
None of them, brother.
So you know what that means?
They don't know these things.
Okay. So who?
They all they worry about how much they getting paid to make it go away.
Yes, but it can't go away this time. Too much lives are being lost.
Too much social media. Too much. It ain't gonna disappear because everyone talking about it over there. I ain't gonna let it dead.
No, sir.
You understand? And I know little punk.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Okay, sir.
All right, brother.
Thank you very much for expressing yourself on the inside of the city. And it's, like I said, there are people out there, like the gentleman who called us. Now we know what's going on because some of us are being involved. We only want the country to get better. No one is talking to the police, but there's a practice that's been going on for a long time between that and politics. And you're seeing the connection now. Okay? Just take a look. We're not saying the Prime Minister is responsible for these things, We're just saying that some people in the political party or part of government believe that their position of power, that they can't be touched because they know a prime minister or they know the Minister of National Security and we as PLP or we as F and the M. So you're using the political party to belittle and oppress somebody else because they don't have the connection that you have. So all we are doing now, we're doing the same thing what the British did to us, or even 10 times worse because it's black on black, and we should be ashamed of ourselves. We shouldn't even have that PLP election when we won the general election based on what's happening in this country right now because all is black on black. Sometimes when you listen to the news, we are, known to police, right? Always known to police, but these individuals, yes, they're involved in crime, and I'm not taking them for them. But still, they are humans, and they have family. And if we keep on believe that the police is different from society, but yet still we're seeing how many police officers being charged with so many enormous criminal offenses in the country, right? And yet still, it seems that everything used to point to the guys on the streets now, but now it's pointing to people in high places. And the evidence is there to prove, and reports are being publicized from the general public, from the radio local stations, and ourselves who are in this discussion. Yeah, so so I'm saying to my brothers out there, like I said, 31 Anthony battle, he was not a problematic young man. He just made a few mistakes. And see, the one mistake you make, listen, the one you make, you see that now? Listen to me, he was spaced out, and he had a dollar and he walking in him without a gun. And where he's gonna run? He probably just don't. He was delusional. He still couldn't believe that he was sentenced. So he was walking around the streets, trying to talk to people. It's try. You just can get convicted for murder, and you were walking around the streets trying to talk to people. Like you free? Like you're no longer Anthony battle. 31 years, you now a government number. Prison inmate belongs to the government of the Bahamas now. We're going to take this last call, and then we're going to go to our second half of the show where we're talking about the system. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in the City on Guardian Radio.
Hey, Scrooge.
Hey, good night.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm fine, sir.
Good. Sorry. Let me turn this down. Scrooge, listen, did we ever know how he was able to escape from the hospital?
No, sir. They didn't give no explanation as to how he was able to escape.
You see, and these things happen all the time, Scrooge, and nobody comes back to the Bahamian people to give us any update. You hear these things that the police are following these leads and whatnot. Did we ever hear any update on this alleged government car that was used in that killing?
Not a word.
Not a word. Not a word. And so things like that leaves people to wonder what is going on in this country. One time we had a prisoner that escaped off the bus.
Yes,
off
sir.
this, off that. How is that possible? And no, Scrooge, no heads roll. You see, nobody is accountable. How is it a policeman could is alleged to have beaten up a young man? Okay, we spent money on these body cameras. Why aren't these body cameras being used? Why aren't there cameras in the police station? Okay, in the interrogation room, so that there will be no discrepancies in regards to who did what to this. See, and we keep doing the same thing. We are not solving any problems.
No.
We elect governments to make things better for us. And this national security minister, oh my God, he's the worst. He's the worst national. I mean, and all he's doing, but I don't blame him, you know. You see, he serves at the pledge of the prime minister. Okay?
That's right.
The prime minister isn't saying nothing. He isn't doing anything. He could get rid of other people, but he, like Mr. Wayne Monroe is saying, he's a demigod that he has. I don't want to say it, but there's something has to be wrong. Put somebody else there. Put somebody else, and let's see what they could do with this crime situation. You know, he doesn't want to put stiffer penalties on for people having guns. The commissioner of police has been calling from time he's come into office. He would like to see more stiffer penalties for people for the possession. And this minister, he would open his mouth. He and you can't hear from him. You can't hear nothing from him. He's just sitting down getting fat of our money, and we just sitting down here and you know, if this was some other countries, you know, the whole country would have been in uproar because we are so passive. We just compete about. But you know, some of them get on the radio, we can talk, but ain't nobody go there and like the former prime minister say, you know, where's the outcry? Where are the hundreds of thousands of people who are ready to go storm Parliament? You know, until we rise up and show these people that the power in the people is greater than the people in power. Scrooge, ain't nothing gonna change. They can keep using us for conks, man.
I agree with you 100% because as long as the people's not going to rise up no more in this country because of the PLP and FNM, 50,000 with the PLP, 50,000 with the FNM, and then, you know, we had a group a few years ago who, I forget, that went on Bay Street, and I think that killed the people together.
Remarch thing.
Yeah, that, I think that finished off, like, you know, people really looked up to the organization. You know, a lot of people was involved in it, and they were saying a lot of stuff, you know, and when we listen, you know, we went to senator and then, you know, but you can't blame the one for making that decision, but that really killed us as a country. But
yeah, but Scrooge, like I said before, we need a country.
Yes,
we
sir.
need a country of law
Yes, sir.
and order.
Yes, sir.
You know, in the book of Habakkuk in the Bible, it says that the law is slack.
Yes.
That there was slackness in the law way back then. Solomon said, I went down to the marketplace and I saw all of the injustice going on. Where the poor man, because he didn't have anybody to defend him, he was taking advantage of. And the same thing going on.
That's
right
what
now.
happened to us right now, sir. As we're speaking right now, that the
Yeah,
problem,
and wickedness.
yes.
He said
Yes.
he saw that there was wickedness in high places.
Yes.
And this is what is going on.
And
wickedness, this corruption, like everybody on the take. You don't know who is who. Everybody just trying to get money, try to get rich, and leave it right here for somebody else to enjoy.
And listen, sir, this the seriousness about it. Remember, we fought as a nation to get the British out and the UPP party, right? And that was the white government. Now we have black governments in charge of the country now. And look how worse we are. So that's what I'm saying now. What's going on?
And, and like Scrooge, like you say, and it's black.
It's black on black now, brother. They see nothing to do with no white man no more. We are destroying one of the best, the police and the civilians on the street.
Concrete Joe people them in the court
No, sir.
every week.
No, sir. Not in their children either.
People in the nose.
Not their children, not them.
Why we as black people can't learn to live together and we have all these black leaders? You see, but when they get in power, they forget about us.
Yes. Yes, sir.
It's all about them.
Yes, sir.
It's all about them and their cronies and whatnot. They spend up all our monies all over the place. We spending $80 million on consulting this way and that. And at the end of 5 years, we still know better. We can't get the Freedom of Information Act. We can't get the campaign finance reform. All the things that they promised to you, and next year they can come back with the same old thing, and some people can just come forward, hook, line, and sinker. We got to change this, buddy. Anyhow, thanks for allowing me to rant.
Of course. Okay? You need to express yourself. You have to let the powers to be who are listening to know that we know what's going on and that we want change. Thank you very much for calling in. Yeah, I just want to make a real quick comment. When I said system protects system, okay, like I say, I'm not against the police. I'm just against the corruption that goes on the police force when they take advantage of the less fortunate in this country. And then sometimes the political parties themselves use their position to protect people, whether it's in the church, whether it's rich business persons. And we have seen it over and over the many cases that are being gone before the courts. We have seen that special privilege are being given out to certain people based on who they know, or you could be in the lodge and etc. Okay, so let me just give you a prime example. We have here wino answers on Azario Majors. That is before the Corners Court. That now is being transferred to the Department of Public. Department of Public Defense. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me see. What do they call it? Excuse me, let me get it right. The DPP, right? Department of Public Prosecution. Okay? The Corners passed it over to the Department of Public Prosecution. The Corners passed it to them. And according to this, the DDP is passed on to the Commissioner of Police, and they say they normally follow the procedures. Now, I'm not here to say who's guilty or innocent, but we all know, okay, that in this case, looking at the footage, reading the newspaper and seeing the findings, that they've decided, that the officers guilty by manslaughter, murder by manslaughter. I think that's what it is, that they got, and they transfer it to the DPP, right? Department of Public Prosecution, okay? And then they normally pass it on to the police, and the police normally take their advice. In this case, we're seeing that it's a slow procedure, because in this case, the officers probably killed an innocent young man. And the commissioner sometimes says that they're not protecting nobody. Well, Commissioner of Police, you are protecting, because if an innocent person got killed, okay, from officers who's supposed to be protecting and serve, and then they're slowing down the process, okay? How do you think Mr. Major's family feels knowing that their son is killed innocently? How's that sitting to the Bahamian people? And we're saying this the Bahamas and that the police supposed to protect and serve. And then we're seeing all this corruption going on in the police department. Man, we have so many decent police officers, but the bad right now is overshadowing the good. And we need to have integrity, and we need the force to reshape itself. Because right now, many people in this country, right now, don't have no trust in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. People would still call the police for things that happen. It's not going to slow down the progress from them protecting the Bahamians in the country, you know, from people breaking in shops, stopping persons with firearm, traffic tickets, you know. That's all good. And that's what policing all about. We're talking about people using their position to protect an organization, which is the Royal Bahamas Police Force and its members, from persecution from doing wrong to Bahamian people. Okay, and citizens and families are suffering. And like I say, I'm not targeting no police officer, but this is what happened in the country. This was brought to the attention of the Bahamian people when this incident happened. And we watched the footage. The police them filed for this matter to get showed out. And it was rejected. Now, Mr. Majors, Azario's father, who I know personally from Salem Union Baptist Church, I met Azario Major along with his father at Salem Union Baptist Church, where we were having a gentleman's meeting set up by Pastor Hugh Rule, where we'd have men and fathers and the community come together, and we would have breakfast, you know, and then we'd sit down and talk to one another. And he, once or twice, his father brought him there, and I met him, Azario Major. So you see, people, it's just a community, you know. You understand? And that's why I could be able to have this conversation and many other conversations and stories, because this is the experience that I've personally witnessed. Yeah, no, I'm Mr. Major. And his father attends Salem Union Baptist Church. You know, very decent young man, you know, Christian, you know. And now he's asking, you know. So here's what was said. So after the father was Azario Major asked why no answers on his son's death, and he said that the Commissioner of Police is not saying nothing, and the Minister of National Security is not saying nothing. The Minister of National Security responds, and this is his words. Let me get it right. National Security, Wayne Monroe, claimed neither the Director of Public Prosecution, the DPP, nor the Commissioner of Police has a role in deciding the fate of officers who get adverse findings following police-involved shooting. Adverse finding following police-involved shooting. Now, how is it we're saying here where they're saying, this is why I tell you the system fights the system. Now, the DDP collects the information from the corners, and the corners investigate it, check the body, find how the person gets shot. Then, when they come to their findings, they pass it on to the Department of Public Prosecution, right? And in the findings of the Department of Prosecution, they're finding that the officers is liable for manslaughter, murder by manslaughter. So let me just continue reading. He said, police has a role, say, the Commissioner of Police has, let me see. Oh, excuse me, let me make sure I explain it good. He said there that Wayne Monroe claimed neither the Director of Public Prosecution nor the Commissioner of Police has a role in deciding the fate of officers who get adverse finding following police-involved shooting. The Coroner's Act speaks quite clearly as to what is to happen to the Coroner's Court, and the Commissioner of Police isn't involved in the process at all, nor is the Department of the Public Prosecution. So I am not quite sure what is happening, Mr. Monroe said yesterday. Mr. Monroe said, now listen to this now, people. You see the mix-up? See, when people are guilty and when the system is guilty, they're not going to admit it. You understand? They're going to dilly-dally because this is a very serious thing. Because now if they proceed to bring these officers on these manslaughter charge, they open the doors for other officers who could be involved in, how I should say, justifiable shooting and not justifiable shooting can be held accountable. You know? And this is why the system protects the system, even when it meant to help. Now, the Department of Public Prosecution has gotten information from the corners. And normally, the police, which is the commissioner of police, Clayton Fernando, he represents the police, okay? It would be brought to him. And according to the newspaper, they said they would normally listen to the advice of the Department of Prosecution. So we have the commissioner saying that they're not protecting. Commissioner, the whole Bahamas know you guys are protecting me, know that you're a fraternity. But so, like I say, this young man, let me finish reading. Okay, I'm going to go to page 3. Okay. So we have the Minister of National Security. He is saying that nor the commissioner, nor the DDP, and he is saying that as Minister of National Security, he is not quite sure, you know, on what is happening. So who is sure? If the Minister of National Security is sure, the Commissioner of Police has no role in the shooting of officers or advice shooting involving officers, and you're always saying it, then who else is saying it? Huh? So what you telling us as a society? Huh? If you, who's the Minister of National Security, you don't know what's happening, the commissioner can't help, and we getting on the first line of the defense so that you could have a good trust in the police and the government, we put the corners court there on behalf of the people. And then we put the Department of Public Prosecution there to make it easy for the corners, because the corners court can't bring no one guilty or put them before the court. They only got gather information off the scene, the circumstances, the evidence, pass it on to the Department of Public Prosecution. The Department of Prosecution looks at the evidence and they decide, you know, well, this could go to court, and they pass it on to the Commissioner of Police. Now, this is a clear case right here why the main people don't trust the procedures of the corners and the Department of Public Prosecution, because you're all giving us a prime example right here that y'all don't know what the hell who's in charge. Simple as that. So that means for us as Bahamians, it's all I can tell you. Fathers, mothers, try grow up your children right, because with the way how things going right now, you could be innocent and your life could get taken. And even though it get taken innocently by the authorities, it seems like there's a fraternity that protects them. Okay? And they're always going to win. It seems like us, we going to win when the Father comes down on earth and probably judges us. And, you know, that's how it seems. So let me finish reading. Let me go to page 3. So he say no role for police chief on shooting. It is not within my ministry, because that is the judiciary, what is it? The judiciary, but the Coroner's Act is quite clear. I think it's around 46 or 56. What is to happen on verdicts from the coroner's jury? It is a matter that is quite clear. So I don't understand why people are looking at the Commissioner of Police when he isn't mentioned in the Coroner's Act at all. Now I see why people is be hot with Mr. Maine Monroe, because he too much a lawyer, and for everything that the Bahamian people are making points on, he come with this act. And but it's right, Mr. Monroe. what is right in the country. You are so much of a lawyer that if you lose your human instinct to see that as Minister of National Security, that if officers are wrong in their wrongdoing as officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, it's your job, sir. It is your job to give a clear indication to the Bahamian people that you do everything in your resources to make up for the mistakes that the officers have committed. You're defending against the corners. You're defending of the Department of Prosecution. And you is the Minister of National Security. That's how serious this is, people. And I'm not against Mr. Monroe. I'm against the system. Because, like I said, they said that this young man was killed, was murdered. Doesn't this bother the Prime Minister? Doesn't this bother the opposition? Doesn't this bother all these church leaders, pastors in the country when they hear this? You're hearing where officers kill an innocent young man and shot him about 36 times that they had to close his casket. And you hear no pastor in this country. Not one pastor speaking on these things, and you all talking about man of God and all this crap. Huh? Y'all got to speak on what's true in this country and what's happening. This is right in the front of your eyes, and y'all can't even read the line and defend for what's right in the country. Innocent man got killed by officers who behave rudely as officers when they were off duty. And they were intoxicated. You know, that's how serious this is. I'm going to take this call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside Inner City on Guardian Radio. Go ahead. Good night.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Wow. All I could really say is, wow, you did a very, very excellent job on analyzing who was in charge and who was not in charge. I hope they're listening so they could know after the night who's in charge, right?
Yes, sir.
Because they obviously didn't know until you said it tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
You did a good job. I really appreciate that. You must have heard me through the week because I was basically saying in my mind, you mightn't believe it, I was talking with you in my mind.
Wow.
I said, man, hey, Mr. Brown, I really need Mr. Brown to speak more on police brutality and other stuff. I say in the past, he always did an excellent job. And it's amazing how I didn't need to call you. I turned on the radio this evening, and that's what the topic you're on.
Yes, sir.
And the thing about it, you're right on target, and it sounds so enlightening, man. It's really a comfort in the midst of all of this, what is going down. You're doing an excellent job and standing strong against the forces, the strong forces and the evil powers that possess this land. It really don't have anything to do with the little man who's being locked up on the streets. He's just a piece of cake when it comes down to,
yes, sir,
to anything doing any wrongdoing in the country. If you look at it from a whole collective standpoint, it's really the persons on top who is creating all of this problem.
Yes.
They're trying to make people believe that it's the people to the bottom who.
That's right.
But it is, in fact, the persons on top who's caught creating all of this problem, from murders to everything else. Yes. People might say, how is it that it could be murder, sir? How could you know when someone's going to murder someone, sir? I don't have to know nothing. The only thing I need to know is that the people on top corrupt, and they set an example for the people to the bottom to do the same thing.
Yes, sir.
That's all I need to know.
Yes, sir.
I don't need to know nothing else.
Yes.
If you as a leader setting bad examples, what in the world you think will happen?
You create a lot of bad apples.
And the thing about it, just like how you were saying, Ben Monroe is saying the corner is in charge, and he don't see the commissioner of police name on the corner, or he don't see the DPP name on the. Oh, Jesus Christ! Please help Ben Monroe. We don't want you to hurt Ben Monroe. Please, Father in heaven. We don't want you to hurt him.
Of course, we get choked. Excuse me.
We don't want you to hurt him, Father, because only one penalty you'll give him is what you give a sinner. That means he ain't allowed to live no more. We don't want you to do that to him. We want you to please, Father, help this man to release us from this nonsense. He's be talking every day.
And that's the Minister of National Security, you know. He defending wrong, sir. He defending wrong.
Oh, you guess that's what he's doing.
You defending murder by officers. What so what's for me and you? So what you just for political party? For election? Because you don't want to offend the officers and stuff like that, because you know the police staff association or the minister talking like that. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get together and you'll be the first one to vote before the people, and we're gonna vote against the PLP because he speak against the police, and that's why a lot of the minister of national security in this country don't want to speak against the police.
I'm glad God gave you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. I mean, one person they wouldn't trick in this world, and I guarantee that it wouldn't be you.
No, sir.
Okay, I know that for a fact because I listen to you. And I'm not saying that just really. I have listened to your show from Derby Bartlett to now.
Wow.
I'm telling you,
wow,
from Derby Bartlett to now.
Thank you, sir.
I was listening to your show.
Never change. Always for the people.
So I know one thing.
Yes, sir.
They cannot pull that wool on you.
No.
They can pull it on many people, and people will defend their actions and say, how could you blame them? But for one person I know for sure, I will be able to say, they ain't fooling you.
No, I can read between the lines.
Okay? And the thing about it is that the coroner's court don't have no power.
No power. So what are they for?
The coroner's basically is a waste of time.
Waste of time on the people. It's taxpayers' money.
All the coroner's court could do is gather evidence together and send it just where you say they're sending it, to the Attorney General office or to the DPP.
Mm-hmm.
He decides whether or not that person be charged or not. Him.
Mm-hmm.
So don't try to Raymond Road, don't try that nonsense. At least one person Raymond Road don't have a debate with, and that's you. You need one day to tell Raymond Road, come on your show and have a debate with you.
Yes, sir.
And I guarantee one thing, before he reach, we already know you win.
Yes, sir. I speak for the people. Anything that's wrong in this country, I speak for.
But you know what? I can leave on that because I want to finish, let you explain to the people so they can have a good understanding of what's going on.
Yes.
And I thank God in heaven somebody there not tricking.
Yes, sir.
You.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Keep up the good work. And I thank Guardian Radio for allowing you. And I thank God for allowing you to live this long.
Yes,
that
sir.
you will be able to speak up. Thank you, sir. You have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. And that's what I'm here to do, to open your eyes, people, and don't get caught up in this PLP. Now, yes, it's good to have a political party, but sometimes it corrupts you so much that you consume it, now it backfire on you. It's like this. Let me give you a prime example. America, when America was at its peak, when it was one of the greatest nations in the world, now it's not so great. You know why? Because they got beside themselves. They started taking advantage of the opportunities they had. They started to train people from all around the world in their tactics, you know, to fight wars, and some were wars for good cause, and many were war for bad cause. In some cases, they were not supposed to invade certain countries, but they don't want to put their idealism on other nations. So the guys started to learn their tactics. They teach them how to shoot, teach them how to formation. So you know what these guys are going to do in Afghanistan and Iraq? They started to use the tank model. And they used the tank model so that when the U.S. soldiers come, they would disorient them by blowing up their Humvees and the tanks, and then they would kidnap them, and then you'd see on TV where they'd be beheading them, get them in a certain location, beheading them. So eventually, what has happened in our country now, when we got rid of the British, and we put this PLP and FNM in power, right? And we get programmed, right? A position in power. Now it's backfiring on us because now it's black on black. And if we don't get this right, and we think we're sensible, we think we're smart when we're talking. I don't have nothing against Van Monroe, the Minister of National Security, but I have a problem on what he's trying to say, based on the fact that he is the Minister of National Security. He only represents the Progressive Liberal Party. When he speaks, he don't speak for the Minister of National Security for each and every citizen in this country. When the Minister of National Security, you hear what it is? The Minister of National Security. The Minister of National, you know what I mean? National Security for the whole entire Bahamas. But when he speaks, he is the minister of the PLP. Now, I don't have nothing against the PLP. They might win the next election. They're in good position. But I'm saying what happened in our country right now, it doesn't give him the right to keep on defending his party, because he is defending things that we are citizens. See, and he's saying it, you know, listen. See, he's saying it. Like, he has no respect for us as citizens. Because listen what he's saying. Let me see if I can read it again. Odd voice, inquest finding in April, DDP condol further sent. Listen, let me see, where it going? There we go. I see it already. And the minister said something. No, he said something. All right. Maybe, let me see where it's going. I'm gonna find it. Well, he said, like, I don't know why people saying that the commissioner of police has a role in this. What you mean? Why people are saying these things? What you mean by this, Mr. National Security? What you mean why? Huh? The people said, what the people supposed to say if the police it has got investigated by the coroner's, the DDP has recommended that it's murder by manslaughter, and they have given it in a normal case, the commissioner of police normally does what the DDP says, and you were saying now, and you don't want us as Bahamian citizens to talk about the commission and asking the commission what the commission Azario Fado. You challenging Azario Fado, Mr. Major, who lost his son, and your department that you're in charge of. Your department, Mr. Minister of National Security, that you're in charge of, you're defending, and this man lost his son, right? So you actually trying to slap in his face as a citizen, the same citizen that you are supposed to be protecting right now as we speak. You are a complete violation as the Minister of National Security. And it's a violation of the constitutional right as the Bahamian people. But you know why all this happening, people? Because of political party. See the minister? I don't think he's a bad person. But it's a system he is in. He's in the Progressive Liberal Party and it's a legal system. And as Minister of National Security, his job is to protect the police, whether they're right or wrong. And that's a big problem for us, and that's what you all better realize, people. That's a dangerous thing to happen in the country. Because people on the streets could get away with murder. Now you have the law enforcement who are protected from the hierarchy, right? So what happens with those junior rookie officers who you see who just come in the force, right? They ain't so rogue. It's because they know the procedure. They know they're protected. They know there's some maternity. Yeah, but guess what? It's all black on black, brothers. We're destroying one another. That's all we're doing. Whereas the police kills Azario Major, he is a Bahamian. Now we're fighting against the police, and we're fighting against Azario Major's father. Now we fighting against Van Munro's fighting against the people. Because his words say these things. He is being insulting and disrespectful to Azario's Major family. He is not compassionate at all. Doesn't deserve to hold the position as Minister of National Security. Because the Minister of National Security is a Bahamian, and if someone loses their loved one, his job is to protect and serve as the Minister of National Security, not just protect and serve the PLP party. See, listen, let me give you a prime example of what goes on here. The system corrupts you from doing what's right. It forces you to do wrong if you're not strong. If the Minister of National Security right now starts to advise the Commissioner of Police to put certain officers before the court, he might not even be living as the Minister of National Security. Because his life could be threatened. Go way back with B.K. Barnaby. When we had officers who were getting ready to assassinate B.K. Barnaby because he went after rogue officers. All right? And the officer got, I think, catch with a box full of guns in an attempt to assassinate the late great B.K. Barnaby, Commissioner of Police, because the officers were corrupt, and he found that some investigation went on, and these officers was corrupt, and they were getting ready to assassinate B.K. Barnaby. Excuse me. And then we had Allison Greenslade. He went after rogue officers. You want to see they start to say bad things about Allison Greenslade, and he started to clean up the force. People saying he was too strict and he going after officers and stuff like that. We don't, listen to me, we are so corrupt. You understand? You remember time when the Minister of Immigration, Brendan McCartney, was putting on his boots and he went around and with the police and the immigration department. He would go around in his boots and stuff like that. You see, he would come down and say, hey, buddy, what you doing? Huh? Get with the status quo. So let me give you a prime example. The Minister of National Security as a Progressive Liberal Party member, he don't know how to separate that from being the Minister of National Security. He still is a member of the Progressive Liberal Party. He still is a member of the justice system. Right? And we must remember, you also swear to a human being and you give an oath. And we must remember these oaths that we give. You can't serve two masters, people. Listen to me. So all y'all Christian people out there who believe you're Christian and all this stuff, people who and they swear. Go read up on swearing. Go read up on when you're swearing. And this is something. Go read up on swearing. That's why you see Christ never ever put his hand on the Bible or a book and swear. Because you're swearing to a next human being who is not God. And you give your allegiance. That's why when the politicians go and they win an election, they cannot become prime minister. They can't become minister of national security. They can't become minister of education unless they go and go in front of the governor general and they put their hand on the Bible and they swear to take oath. You understand? And that's what Mr. Monroe did. Took oath. And in the swearing people, listen, go look at when the prime minister gets sworn. He don't swear to the BMA people at first, not a second. He swears to the BMA people at third. The first thing he swears to the Queen and her descendants, means that the Queen has passed away now. Now it's Prince Charles. And when he signed it on, he signed a contract with England. All right? When Brave Davis won the election, go look. You see the governor general give him that book? He signs his name. He signs a contract, a confidential contract that cannot be broken. All right? That's why you see him there. And the governor general talks to them and tell them, say, you was blah, blah, blah. And he say, he is sworn to serve the Queen or the King and his descendant. And secondly, listen, he is sworn to secrecy. Whatever goes in Parliament remains in Parliament. That's confidentially. You understand? That's like when you saw former Prime Minister Menace, when he said he lost that file. Right? When we all know that you can't lose a file that's copies. But he came up with that. Because that's confidential. When he leave in office, he can't have it. No other Prime Minister could open that. Once that F&M government leave, all their files are confidential. And no PLP government can open that unless, even if they have the information, about what the Free National Movement was doing, they still can't go and discuss it in the general public because the contract is signed another 5 years, and even though they're the new government, they cannot go into the information that is confidential for all the former members. Yes. No, I ain't come here though to play games with nobody. I could read between the lines, and I'm here to enlighten you being people. The Minister of National Security represents his party. He do not represent the whole entire being people. Okay? Even though it seems like that, based on his actions. Because like I say again, he ain't say nothing to the major family as the Minister of National Security. So that means that me and you, we better help support our children, make them strong, make them dependent and independent in this country. Because it seems to me, even when the system wants to protect, and let me give you a prime example again, the corner squad that was put there as a safe gate to gain the public trust, to show that, the government has decided to put the corner squad there to investigate matters concerning police involved shooting, so that they could ease the burden of the public's sense of trust when it comes to rogue officers. Then we have the Department of Public Defenders. Coroner's finding supposed to be the second phase to give to the public defender's office so that they can pass the information on to the commissioner of police, and then they go from there to actually see if they could bring criminal charges against the officers. We can take this last call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in the City. Hey, good night.
Yeah, firstly, enough respect. All right? Now, I mean, you know, everything that you say is true, right? True, right? But the thing is, I like how you explain the chronology with the coroner's court. I wasn't mindful of it, but I remembered it when you was talking about it, right?
Yes, sir.
With the chronology. That is where the problem lies.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said last week, the problem also lies with the monopoly that this particular entity has over our freedom and our rights as they enter our homes. And hence, I tell you, you should have a ghetto story every week.
Yes, sir.
Not to, you know, the thing is, when you question injustice, you want them to know that you're with them, right? But they have officers within this entity who really know what's going on, and they really can't. They are
Discuss
kind
it.
of kidnapped by the status quo or the entrenched foolishness that goes on that they try to curtail. Let's say the coroner's court, right? You explain the chronology just now of the litigation pathway, right? The legal pathway, right? So then, if the buck stops at the commissioner, and I'm starting to be corrected here, so that what that means is, as we've seen over the decades, right? The coroner's court will rule this, and then they will do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be vague here because I'm smart enough to know that the radio has become a panopticon, okay? Which means a surveillance grid. They know your voice, they know who you are. The country's very small. You stand tall, okay? So I'm not against anybody. I'm just saying it's high time that they move the complaints and corruption from out of the bar.
We want a better Bahamas because we all be humans here.
Yeah,
we want a better Bahamas for all.
So I kind of get in a little, my brother, who's come on 2 o'clock, he tried to put me in a little hot water yesterday. I had said some things. He was maybe correct, but if something has happened to you over and over, and you have seen things over and over, and I say it on the airwaves, I mean, what I'm saying is, have you ever seen a police brutalize someone that is already handcuffed, Scrooge?
What you mean, man? That's an everyday thing. What you talking about?
So, I mean, if I say it on the airwaves, how could that be a problem?
Why is it a problem?
What I'm saying is, it happened to me over and over. And one night, they decided that when the sergeant in the go station said, no, you can't put this young man in the station, man. You're going to carry him to the hospital. You know what they did? They let me go in the rain, my brother.
Thank you, right on.
I bleeding from the face, from the skull. He gun butted me up while I was already handcuffed. Just over a little piece of weed, you know. They was looking for someone else, but they knew I was totally wearing totally different outfits. They knew, but just in their arrogance and their haughtiness, whatever it be, I don't know their psyche. These guys are not psychoanalyzed. They don't realize that one day they will lie down and face the Almighty. And where the hatred comes from, you know, I think they don't do this to white people. They just can't. But they believe every Negro is the problem. Now, truth is revealed, they are part of the problem. And they seem to have the solution. I like how you explained the whole thing with Mr. Monroe, right, et cetera, et cetera. The about turn shows you the power of the status quo, right?
Yes, sir.
But when you, like the injustices that I live with and that I see, all right, from I was a little youth, I was going to the complaints and corruption unit, right? And you believe it, nothing has never really happened. And then you wonder why the foreigners is coming and win their lawsuits. And you know, one or two brothers, them.
Because they get lawyers.
But what I realized is, right, and I was told by, you know, I was told this by a lawyer friend that I went to school with. I was a little older than him. It's a very famous family name, but I wouldn't say who it is. I have a lot of lawyer friends because I went to a private school. So he said something to me that was very frightening for me, Scrooge, and he said it the other day. And so this is why I'm concerned that once you have something in the complaints unit, why is it that they don't call you and say, well, why you haven't come in and you know, are you being intimidated? Just like when you have a problem with out in the outworld where people can intimidate witnesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's no difference, Scrooge.
No, it's no difference.
We see where we look at the Azara major case with an independent ballistics report, which was a counter narrative to what was given by senior officers. I mean, I myself just speak in truth. You know, I don't know what's going on, but there's no repercussions for anything. No. And then if the person is a PLP or FNM, nothing happens to them. You understand what I'm saying? You see the guy who called you a little earlier?
Yes, sir.
He had something happen to a family member, similar to what happened to Marcel. And you and I have lived long enough to know that you just transfer people up and down all over the place, the old island, this island, the island, but they're still there. So the problem still remain the same. There's no solution because they won't change anything, because even as simple as implementing cameras to document things and rule out any negativity, right? They won't do that. So what that would mean for me is that they don't want cameras. They will tell people, the other day is brutalizing. They say, well, the boys stop. police say this is a concerned citizen. The police tell them, no, go about your business. They brutalizing someone already handcuffed, but you don't want the public to stop and obviously be doing your work. What that means, you're working for yourself. You're not really working for the public. And they hate the criticism, and this is frightening. This is very, very frightening. I mean, and people just don't know what to do. And then, like I heard you ran the story about the young lady, right? I knew her very well. I knew her mom. I knew her brothers. And that night, you know, I was in the shop working, and I heard a shot. And me and my brother, he came from the front, I came from the shop, and I didn't see anything. I didn't know nothing would have happened. And all of a sudden, a young gentleman was running east onto the corner. He stopped and lodged behind a truck, and then subsequently he emerged, and there was a car maybe on the corner, and he ran out there. But nobody knew what it was all about. But then we walked down there. You heard George's mother crying and screaming. I started to cry also, because me and her was very close. I wish I could have talked to you, but I know it was the young lady. But I know the whole situation. You see what I'm saying? And what her mom said on the news, she had told me that. But, you know, and then the way she's young, people always thought, but her mom knew that the rumors with me were different. I was a young man, but I never fought with her. But people were spreading those rumors because she used to come to me like she's in school and all that. People thought like, you know, but it wasn't, you know, people hate to believe, they believe everybody's a scumbag.
No, everyone is a scumbag.
But she used to confide in me because I used to treat her just like a daughter.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And so even, you know, she was very, I'm not even lie, she really was a bubbly person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Always smiling.
Georgie, that was my jog boy.
You all got to go down to do with Scrooge. You on the spotlight, man. Just keep it up, you know. Just try and humanize the ghetto situation. Just try and humanize these officers.
Yeah.
So when they execute their duty, they can remember to be human. Right now, I'm suffering from injuries that I've had years ago. A fractured wishbone, and this and that here and there, a fractured thigh bone. All these different things happen, you know. But they don't wear cameras, so you don't have no. All right, you don't have no rights once they're not wearing cameras because it's your word against theirs. And you're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, I'm fighting a losing battle.
Give thanks.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. So like I said, you know, the caller made some excellent points just now. Like I said, I know Georgia. She slept by me a couple of nights back to back. She was in fair. She told me the same thing, you know, before she passed, you know. You know, she, you know, had a hard life just like a mom, you know. She was trying to make a change, you know. But like I say, you know, when you're hanging around different guys who are shooters, you know, she was frequenting different guys, and guys were beefing with other guys. And this is a cousin who they said is responsible for putting a hit on her, and they were living in the same yard. Family, 2 brothers, children. That's how serious this is, people. And then painted live on the corner, you know, and everyone knows everyone in the community. So, you know, this is how it is. And you would be surprised to know how many cases like this that comes on the news that are tied right in Grandstand Hay Street. See, what people don't understand is that Grandstand was a top criminal area in the country for over 20 to 30 years. Major gangs were forming them. First gang, the Border Boys, and then the Maras, and then you had other guys coming. But in the volume of people from around the country, you know, that came in that area from a lot of different criminal background, and you see them on the news, you'd be surprised. Hundreds of those guys who got killed on the news was the hang around there. So I know this story. I know them. Even when I came out of being a drug dealer and a gangster, and I started to be a community leader, I still in close contact with a lot of the guys who are now leading the area, but they respect me. You understand? They respect me because they like what I'm doing. So I was able to still communicate with them, and they would tell me the stories and show me this one, who do this one and that one, and what's going on, and be careful, don't go this way, and you know. So that's how come I was able to be updated in 2024 as we speak right now. You understand? That's how serious it is in the country. But to me, the Minister of National Security, when he speaks, he is not for the Bahamian people. He is for a political party, or he's trying to protect the Royal Bahamas Police Force. And it goes down to this, people. Listen to me, and listen good. When you hear about the Police Staff Association, when you hear the general election comes up, right? When you hear the police are going to vote, civil servants going to vote for the general election, it will be before us as citizens vote. No, you understand? So there's a particular number of votes that goes to the ballot, right, from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. And in between there, that's what people don't understand. The majority of the Royal Bahamas Police Force is divided between the PLP and the F&M. Okay? There's a very few officers who are not politically involved in both political parties. But many of the top cops that you see on the news, right, representing or sitting down with the commissioner or meetings with the prime minister, or you see them walking with the prime minister on the news, listen to me, people. They are members of the Progressive Political Party or members of the Free National Movement. Okay? So that can confuse the officers, because sometimes what they're supposed to be doing right, what they're supposed to be doing right, they would rather let wickedness and wrongness cloud their judgment than to let justice prevail in this country. And we have seen it. We have seen it right now from the Minister of National Security, because this is what I say as a Bahamian. When he speaks, he has no respect for the Major's family. Okay? When we speak, the Commissioner of Police, even though he's doing his job and he has to protect the Royal Bahamas Police Force. But at the end of the day, y'all are supposed to protect and serve, right? Now, the findings that y'all put in place, the coroners, the Department of Prosecution, then the recommendation to the Commissioner of Police, then he probably turns the matter over to the court. All of y'all right now, based on reading on the Minister of National Security saying that why the people talking about the Commissioner of Police, he has no say in the matter in the corners or decision making and advice finding. So the corners doesn't mean the Bahamian people no good. The Department of Prosecution doesn't mean the Bahamian no good. Hey? The Commissioner of Police doesn't mean it's no good. And the Minister of National Security doesn't mean us no good. Not that they're a bad person, because the political divide of the Commissioner being the police, the Minister being a member of the PLP, and him being the leader of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, he cannot speak on the wrongdoings of officers, and he will defend it. Okay? And listen why I'm going to end. I'm going to get a couple more minutes. And I'm going to end on this, people. Listen to me. Mr. Major, I don't have nothing against those officers. Okay? I ain't the one who pulled the trigger. I changed my life. I ain't the one who pulled the trigger, and I ain't the one who killed Major. I ain't no police officer. I wasn't there trying to take the cameras from the establishment. I wasn't the one there planting the gun. Okay? I wasn't the one there on the front of the camera where you can see but 4 or 5 officers, that sent the chill up my spine as a guy on the street to see that type of action taken out on the next human being. Right? Minister of National Security is not for the people. He is for the political party, and he is about getting votes in the next general election. That's all it is. Me and you people, let me listen to me good. Start praying and ask God to guide and protect you, because it seems to me that the persons who's supposed to be protecting us in this country, they ain't doing a good job. And as of right now, we have become too political, and it's put a darkness over our eyes, and we can't see the truth. And now we're all going to pay the piper. You understand? Just listen. The commissioner has no role. The DDP has no role. Well, who has a role? And listen this. I'm going on this. This is the only hardware shooting inquest finding. In April, acting DPP Cordell Fraser sent her guidance regarding the deaths of Shanton Forbes, D'Angelo Evans, and Dino Brown to the Commissioner of Police, but the Commissioner did not reveal her instructions despite repeated inquiries from the Tribune. Now, the Minister of National Security is saying one thing. Now we have the DDP, Cordell Fraser, what is it? Yeah. Saying her guidance regarding the deaths of Shandon Forbes, D'Angelo Evans, and Dino Brown to Commissioner Fernanda, but the commissioner did not reveal. So what is the Minister of National Security? What is the Minister of National Security saying now? He's saying one thing, and then we have the Department of Public Prosecution sending her finding and saying that this need to go before the criminal court. But they're running from putting these matters before the criminal court because, like I said again, if the Minister of National Security decides to go this far and he open a Pandora box, this is going to send a bad message to the officers on the force because a lot of them are dealing with corruption. Hey? So now they can start grumbling. Boy, we got to get rid of this government, but we got to get rid of this government, boy. And they're doing wrong, you know. But because they have this position as police officers, they feel that, you know, they could get away with anything. So now, if Mr. Monroe was a starter, who, like I tell you, check BK Barnaby, they try to assassinate him. Listen to Allison Greenslade, when he was there, when he was cleaning the force, there was talks on the streets about getting rid of him too. So even with your best intentions to do right, but because the corruption has been going on so long and you've been using the political parties to get away with wrong instead of using it for good and to make it beneficial for all, you use it for that party. So in the party now, everyone became entitled. Now we get this. And we get people saying stupid things like the Minister of National Security saying stupid things. You know, no respect for the Bayman people. We on our own people. I know we need a government. And every 5 years we're going to vote. You know, like I say, the PLP can win the next general election. But it doesn't matter. Because if these kind of things are going to continue, we're doomed. Because we get innocent persons losing their lives. We put all these procedures in place to give the general public confidence that the government and the Royal Bahamas Police Force are our friend and we're doing things the right way, integrity. But when the finding is they're guilty, all of a sudden now, the commissioner has no say, the DDP has no say. What the hell going on here? Huh? So if you don't have no say, then it must goes down to the Prime Minister has to make this decision. Because he said that he don't even know what's going on as the Minister of National Security. So his boss is the Prime Minister. So that's my speculation. That's my 2 cents. So the Prime Minister is going to have to make this decision. Remember, I always tell you all this. Listen to me. And listen good. Listen, people. I've been around politics for a very long time. I've been with Lyndon. I've been with Perry. I had experience with Hubert Ingram and Tommy Turnquest, Charles Maynard, and a bunch of them. All right? And I learn and I listen. Okay? I learn and I listen. Politics is a very dangerous thing. And if we don't start to clean up our act in this country as Bahamians, because the police are black, the citizens are black, okay? And if we don't start thinking that we're equal in this country, we can continue to be a country plagued by injustice. Okay? Because right now as it stands, like again, I'm going to give a shout out to the Major family. My condolences to your son. I would apologize. It seems to be that officers are responsible for his death, and that it seems like you people didn't get no justice. Even though the coroner's ruled in your favor, even though the DDP ruled in your favor, but we hearing the Minister of National Security, you know, the second boss saying that he didn't even know. Okay? So I hope you all enjoy the show. And like I say, I'm not here to bring down no organization. I'm just here as a Bahamian to say that if we don't improve our way of life and become more godly and stop using position of power to protect wickedness in high and low places, then we're going to continue our 100 murders. Poverty is going to continue. And guess what? Now, those to the top are getting exposed. So I just want to give a quick shout out to my my number one sponsor, Rotary Club of East Nassau. I want to give a shout out to KK Central Food Fair for sponsoring the lights that are on H Street Park. We had a tournament about last week. She partnered with my friend Nate the Great, KK Tong, owner of one of the owners of Central Food Fair, Central Food of Emily Street. She's Chinese store. She was able to buy the spotlight for us to be able to have a light on the park, and for also the kids. Nate has a program that he has in the park playing games and etc. And his programs in the park. And the park light was off. The government lights were not working. KK Tong from Central Food Fair